Hey, what is up, guys? It's your homeboy MG here, and today I'm going to talk about and we'll be doing a review Watch Dogs that just came out last week on May 27th. And I can say it's fair in my case. It was a good game. I thought it was going to be mind-blowing, as they said it was going to be at E3 of 2012, but Watch Dogs fall short in a lot of cases, and we're going to be going over that in today's review and deciding whether or not Watch Dogs is for you. So let's get started. So we already know the game is about Aiden Pierce, a vigilante. He's setting out to get revenge for his 6-year-old niece that got murdered in a car accident due to him hacking a place called the Murloc in the first early parts of the game. So then from there, the player has to basically, in the open world Chicago, find and hunt down the people that were responsible for your niece's death. And I can say about the Watch Dogs story, it could have been better. I understand that they wanted to go with the whole revenge, you hunting down the people that were responsible, but sometimes it felt like the story was just like copied and pasted. Like at some points it felt like Ubisoft was trying to tell the story in a different way, but then when it came time, for the game to be released, they took together whatever scenes that they put together, and now we got the final product. And one of the things that I say what hurts the game, I wouldn't say a big way, but you can sort of notice it, that it has very bad personality disorder. It doesn't even know what type of game it wants to be. And the way I can further explain that is when it comes to the bad guy of the game does not know who it wants to be the bad guy of the game. You get Damien, you get Lucky Quinn, and you get Iraq, and between the three of them, you honestly don't know who really the antagonist is. Yeah, okay, you at the end of the game, you figure out that, Lucky Quinn is the guy that ordered a hit on you, but he doesn't really feel like a bad guy, not like, Assassin's Creed 2 bad guys. I can't remember some of the bad guys' names. He didn't really feel like a final boss that you had to go take down. He didn't really feel like he didn't really feel like a guy that over the course of the game that I had to go and kill. Because it was sort of playing it like right there, black and white. As you start to notice as the game goes on, you start to realize who killed your niece and who's behind it all. And then once you get there, you don't really feel, like a self-accomplishment, like you really felt like you went through hell to find this guy. He was right there. Honestly, I thought this game was going to feature more hackers instead of trying to take the mob boss freaking route. That's why I honestly thought with this game, honestly, when I first saw this game, when they showed the whole trailer with Joseph DeMarco and he was doing the underground auction of selling off women, I honestly thought that your sister got sold into the sex trade, and now you have to sit up and figure out who took her, and at the same time, figure out who killed your niece. And then, I thought that's how the story was going to go, but then the story took a 180 and said, no, you're just trying to find out the mob boss that put the hit on you, that killed your niece, and now you have to go and do it. Now, when it comes to driving in Watch Dogs, I'm not going to lie, it's pretty shitty. I sort of felt that as much time Ubisoft has had with this game, the driving mechanics shouldn't have been perfect. As much as they was praising the game and talking about how driving was, a big part of the gameplay, it really felt like a really crappy arcade driver game. Like, seriously. So now, some cars you can handle, but it's like any other cars, they're totally crap, and you will find yourself driving motorcycles a lot more in this game than you actually would want to. Now, let me say, the game, the driving mechanics doesn't totally kill the game. It really goes off the whole Splinter Cell Conviction, Assassin's Creed type gameplay style. With that, when it comes to stealth, it really heavily depends on Splinter Cell Conviction, which I think was a perfect match for the game. At times, it felt good to actually feeling that I can actually sneak into an area without causing so much detection and not really get total bamboozled by it. Not like in the Assassin's Creed series, which they seem to always have a hard time trying to get right when it comes to stealth. They perfectly matched it in Watch Dogs. Now, when it did come to some situations, stealth was there, but they sort of made it like you want to go aggro in a lot of situations, and I can understand that. That's cool. But when you praise the stealth part of Watch Dogs, you would think there would be a lot more missions involving, you using stealth and you using hacking abilities instead of you always going in guns blazing, which you do a lot in this story and gameplay. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't hurt the gameplay, but it wouldn't have been nice, have a little bit more stealth and a little bit less Rambo in a lot of cases. Now, when it does come to the multiplayer, I did play the game during opening week, and I'm not going to lie, it was pretty crappy. It was hard to find a couple of multiplayer games on both the tablet application and the actual game itself, but when I did find it, I can actually say it was pretty cool. It was pretty fun, and it got my heart racing. It actually felt good, running around looking for the guy. But I do add for one thing that I wish they could probably change in the game is when it comes to people hacking their game. I wish they made it a little bit more simpler when it comes to people finding the hacker that's hacking into their game. Some parts it felt really freaking frustrating because that you think that they're going to be somewhere within that circle, and then it turns out they may be on the edge of that circle, just sitting in a parking lot, and you wouldn't even think nothing of it. But I know there's some people out there where you need to check more, but it's like something like that can make a player pretty frustrated. I was pretty frustrated at it. And another thing that I really don't like in the game is that when it comes to the online hacking 1v1, there's no way of you hacking a player that already hacked you. If you've been hacked by a certain set of player, you've been hacked. You can't go back and get no revenge whatsoever. And I sort of felt like that was a really short downfall because I'm playing on the Xbox 360, and I sort of felt that a feature like that would have been in there. A guy hacked my game. I feel that I should be able to go hack his game and show him the same type of gratitude that he showed me. And it turns out that's not even in this game. Once you're hacked, you're hacked. You can't hack no one else, and you can only go hack randoms that only are available to be hacked. And due to this week of the Uplay server, since everything on Watchdog was connected to Uplay, everything's been all screwy and all fucked up, and it seems like when it comes to finding matches on the actual game itself, it takes freaking forever, and also on the tablet application as well. Sometimes I will be waiting 10 to 15 minutes waiting just to find one game on the application, or just in the game itself. And I really think Ubisoft should have thought of it being real, should have thought of a little bit more clearly when it came to that. And another thing that I think they need to update on the application themselves is that when it comes to friends, when you're playing with friends on your application, it should at least pop up on there, whatever system they're playing on, whether it be PC, PlayStation 3, or whatever. It should say, your set title. Because over the weekend, I hacked the game in Ethos' game, and he declined it, and I asked him, dude, why'd you decline my game? And he said, well, it didn't show that on your screen. And then I was like, yeah, it does. Like, no, not saying like, yeah, it does. Like, it really doesn't. It actually just sits up and says CTOS mobile player wants to try to hack your game, little purple notification on the side of the screen. It doesn't even say the player's username, and that's what I think Ubisoft need to update in the most recent patch, so that you can be able to see what's the player's name and who's hacking you, so it ain't just always some random and casual. Because I have a lot of friends that want to play this, that I know they play this game on Xbox 360, and I send them the friend invites, and all they just see is this random thing popping up, and they could just think I'm just some freaking random. They don't know that's me trying to hack into the game and actually play a challenge racing with that. Let me say that the mini games in the games were quite fun. I played this one where you had to shoot aliens coming out like this little portal and stuff. I didn't really play too much of the other ones. I sort of felt like they were just gimmicks to try to help the game sell more because of the shortfall of the driving mechanics and actual story itself. In Watch Dogs, I thought that those were just add-ons to try to help people get more motivated to buy the game. And as for the open world of Chicago itself, it's nice. It's bustling. People are, walking and talking. But every so often, you may see the same type of status profile again on some of the folks. And then after so often, you will hear the same, lines being repeated by the NPCs a bunch of times on a lot of the stuff that's already happened in the game. And another thing that I sort of felt was a very big shortcoming in the game was when it came to the morale system. I'm thinking, okay, the way how they kept saying the morale system in Watch Dogs is, okay, if you're not a total good guy, you cause havoc, and you go in the stores and they may call the cops on you and stuff like that. So I was like, okay, that sounds good, but I chose to go the good vigilante. So they kept saying back during all their little trailers and releases that whenever time you do something in the game, the news are automatically on it, like they'll report it. So if you sit up and stop a crime in progress, then you'll be placed saying that Aiden Pierce was there stopping one such crime, and that posted you at the scene, and that determined whether or not, if you were in the shop buying guns, whether or not the store owner was going to call the cops on you. Now, I can say that has never happened in this game throughout the whole entire time me playing as a good Aiden Pierce. Only thing I ever heard of anything talking about Aiden Pierce is when it related to the main game. Any other side quest in this game that talks about you when you doing anything good, you will not hear it on the news whatsoever. The only time you'll hear anything on the news about what side you stand on and whether the people support you or not is when you're about halfway done with the freaking game. And I sort of felt like that we were undersold, and I sort of felt that Ubisoft had enough time, and also looking at other past games when it comes to the morale system, that they had a lot to work with, and it can actually make this game a lot more funner. And it's like, it's sort of a letdown at the same time that has so much potential to do, and it sort of really questions me, are they really going to do the whole morale system in the game? Because even overall, the only thing that really determines whether or not you're bad in that game is you go on a freaking massive shooting spree in the game. And so if you sit up and you go stop crime and stuff like that, that says you're a good vigilante. It shouldn't have been a morale system in there saying that, okay, you're the vigilante. Are you going to sit up and not turn a blind? Are you going to turn a blind eye to this and not let it happen, or are you not going to let it happen, or are you going to let it happen? Oh crap! I'm gonna get my words all mixed up. And it shouldn't have been like, if you turned away, then it shouldn't have been a bad thing. So it's saying, okay, you're not the so-called vigilante everybody thinks that stops crying. And then if you do chop it, then you go to the good side saying that you are the vigilante, saying that you're not going to allow all this crap to happen in your city. It could have been so much that they couldn't have did with that morale system in the game. They could have pushed the game further. And when I was looking at a couple of reviews, a couple of people saying that when it comes to third world games, it's like Watch Dogs is pretty much like this third world game that people are just going to remember for about a month's worth of time, but come a couple months later, people are going to forget about it. It's like they shouldn't have took a little bit more of the system when it came to the open world. They shouldn't have hidden a lot of that stuff, like when it came to finding the investigation on who murdered 7 people, or finding the auctioneers from the auction mission that's part of the main campaign. All that shouldn't have been hidden in the world and shouldn't have left to me to find, because that makes me as a player want to actually be more in tone in the world. If you sit up and just show wherever it is on the map, that's really lazy, and that's hand holding. It's like, I really don't want to be hand hold. I really want to go out in this world and actually find the stuff that you guys actually played. It gets me more immersed in the world. It makes me actually feel like I'm there in Chicago. And honestly, like another YouTuber said, that it just really feels like a big giant playground with all this stuff for us to do, and it's a bunch of hand holding and saying that here it is, you can go do it if you want, or you can go do this if you want. It's really no player exploration. It really doesn't really want to make you go out and explore Chicago, because everything is already pointed out right there on the map. Soon as you unlock a district, or even as soon as you come out the game, everything's automatically unlocked and shown. You don't have to go look for it yourself. And I hope Ubisoft takes that into account when they're making the sequel of Watch Dogs 2, because it can really help make the game a lot more successful. But other than that, Watch Dogs is a good game. I suggest anybody, go out and buy it. It's a good time passer. And when it just don't get your hopes too up about with the story and the driving mechanics, but everything else when it comes down to shooting mechanics, stealth, and the hacking itself, it's very superb, very thought out, and you will enjoy it. So tell me, guys, have you played Watch Dogs? What did you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. Peace.